Hey everybody, my name is Ashley Rush and I'm an independent creative memories advisor located in North Carolina. Today I am back with a fan favorite series, How to Use Your Scraps. In scrapbooking, we end up with like tons of leftover strips of paper and little bits of this and that and doohickeys. What do you do with those? Do you throw them away? Do you categorize them all? I am here to help you use up your scraps so that you can get more bang for your buck. To complete this project, you're going to need your 12-inch trimmer, a tape runner, a scratch sheet of cardstock to serve as your base, and then some scraps of paper. I have 1/2-inch strips with me today. And then from those 1/2-inch strips, you're going to turn them clockwise and you're going to cut them into 2-inch segments so that you get 2-inch by 1/2-inch sheets of paper. Now I have quite a few cut over here on the side already because no one wants to sit and watch me cut a bunch of sheets. You're going to need, I think, at least 24 of these little 2-inch segments, varieties of colors, varieties of patterns. Just so long as they look good together, you will be in good shape. All right, I said you would need a piece of cardstock or, really any paper to serve as your base. I just have a piece of white. When I was practicing this, I had leftover white from last week where I was practicing that decorative trimmer border. So I was able to use that. Now I'm using a fresh sheet, but that's okay. I always have uses for white cardstock here in my studio. So I'm just cutting a 2-inch border. That big 10-inch sheet you can set aside. You're not going to need that. And you're pretty much done with your trimmer as well. We might pull it out to clean things up a little later, but that's it. That's pretty much all of the cutting we will be doing. All right, so I've got these large sheets or large strips. I'm just going to push those to the side because I'm pretty sure I've got plenty of little 2-inch segments here. So we are going to be doing a sort of quilting effect with our segments here. So you're going to start by, I'm just going to show you lining up 4 of these little 2 by 1/2-inch segments onto your paper. I am not putting a whole lot of thought into this, just throwing stuff down. Now I'm sticking with sort of reds, and then I'm going to switch to greens for my next 4. But for my next 4, instead of building that way, I'm now going to turn them in the opposite direction. I'm just throwing down patterns. All right, so you guys can see that I'm building. Now for the reds, I'm going to switch back to the horizontal. You're just going to continue to build like this. I'm trying to not do the same pattern on all of them. And then switch again. I happen to be using the same colors over and over again, but just because I've used 4 reds here doesn't mean I have to do like red, green, red, green. I could be mixing and matching. This is just what works for me right now. And then I would switch back now to horizontal stripes, and we're just making our way through. Now, again, I am laying down very rough pieces, not putting a lot of thought into it, not lining it up nice and pretty. But you can see how simple this is, not a lot of thought. And then the last one. Now once you have your papers roughly laid out, this is when you could go back through, clean up any patterns you don't like, flip over your paper, see if you like different things. But I'm fairly happy with what I've laid down here. So now I can go ahead and start adhering. Now when you're working with scraps like this, it's a good idea to sort of pick one side of your border to serve as your like linear straight line, because we are working with scraps. Even though I was cutting into 2 inches, sometimes you don't measure properly, sometimes you're rushing, sometimes the 1/2 inch strips you thought you have weren't actually 1/2 inches. So it's not always going to lay out perfectly. So I am going to use this as my baseline, trying to get as straight as of an edge there as possible. And then if the other side needs to hang off a little bit or is a little short, that's okay, guys. So I'm just going to keep building, trying to keep this side as straight as possible. And then as you build up, this side is going to be a little janky, a little crooked, depending on how good you are at cutting. I often rush. Ooh, I wish I had used that dark green spot. Oh well. It is done. Just want to commit. Uh-oh. Oh, boogers. Look, I was like, I wish I had used that dark green spot, and then I actually tried to use it. That's not what's supposed to go in right there. It's supposed to be a red piece. All right, fixed it, pulled that up. Now I can put the actual red piece in that I'm supposed to have there. And now you're just going to keep building. Once you have your first 4 stripes down, your first horizontal, now you can switch to vertical. Now again, you're going to be using this side of your border to do a straight line. And then you're going to try and keep it as straight as possible on your horizontal stripe. Right. And then again, when you get to that last one, you may find that like, ooh, somehow or another, I've run out of space. That's okay. You can cheat off the edges a little bit. And then you can also overlap a little bit. Again, nobody's perfect. Measuring is hard. So just do the best you can. And now you're just going to continue to adhere these pieces. As you can see, I have now finished adhering all of my little 2-inch segments onto my border. I have a fairly good line here, nice and straight. My line on this side is a little off. So depending upon how off it is and how much you think that'll bother you, you can bring in your 12-inch trimmer and just very slightly trim that edge. You're basically going to be getting just little slivers of paper. All right, you can see I just got literally just little slivers. That'll clean that edge up and you can be done. If you like how it turned out, you can be finished. You get a very patchwork quilt effect. It makes me think of like warm Christmas pajamas or, you know, cuddling on the couch. Change the vibe by changing the collection you're using or the color scraps you're using. Now, sometimes, depending on the patterns, this can look a little like free floating, I guess. It needs to be anchored down. So if that's the case, so this is a 2-inch border, you could try to cut, so you do a 2-inch border and then you could mount it on a 2 1/4 piece of cardstock. So that gives it a nice solid, you know, edging on either side, makes it look a little more grounded. So with this one, I made sure not to have a repeating pattern. If my little like light green dots was on this side, it never was going to be on this side again. With this one, I did a repeating pattern so that, oh look, I found a mistake. Bummer. I'll have to fix that. So on this one, I made sure to basically use the same patterns in the same order, with the exception of my little boo-boo here. So maybe I'll just throw this down so we can pretend like it's the way it's supposed to be. Now, I like how that turned out. I like the anchoring of that little 1/8 of an inch border here. Now, if you want it to be a little more extra, you could try adding a border maker border chain or something even behind this, or I took a 2 1/2 sheet of paper. I used the decal blade. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then so the decal blade can then go either behind this one that has the white border, just giving it a little something extra, or if you wanted to do a thicker border, the decal piece can go behind your full-on border. You can see this needs to be trimmed a little bit too. I've gone over the edge. I'll give you guys a close-up of that. I think I like the solid behind first, and then the decal gives it a little something extra. Would you guys do it with or without the decal border? Or with or without an additional? Like, this is strong. I think this piece just gives it a little something else. Now, depending upon how many scraps you guys had, you could do several of these borders. I could have one on every side if I wanted. It'd be great for, it's just a great way to wrap up, even if you guys do yearly scrapbooks, maybe take all of the scraps that you've had for that year and create a border at the end. And it's kind of like, it's like a mosaic of memories, because it's got pieces of paper from all of your layouts from the entire year. How do you guys feel about that video? Did you like it with the white background, or do you like it plain? And then if you like it with one of those, how do you feel about adding like that deckled edge underneath of it? I really liked the white background with a little bit of the deckled edge sticking out. I think it just gives it that little extra je ne sais quoi, or whatever the French say. So I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. I know it has been a busy week here, so please excuse my very short video. If you guys are looking to get in touch with me or want to stay in contact, please check out my Facebook and Instagram. I am posting daily content there. And if you have any scrapbooking needs, please visit my Creative Memories website. That is also where you would join my team. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I want to know how you feel about this border that I created. And if you guys have other ideas for using up your scraps, why don't you shoot them at me, and then maybe I can make a video out of your idea. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Bye!